Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to have as my special guest today William Morgan, who is one of the members of the Citizens Agency for Joint Intelligence and has been for some time. Now, that's all that we can tell you about his identity. You will hear from him his own story, what he's been doing, how he's been doing it, what kind of information he has collected for our organization, for the citizens of this country and of the world. And we're going to talk about, well, I guess you just have to call it undercover operations. This man has been undercover for the Citizens Agency for Joint Intelligence. And I remember several episodes of the show before, sometime during the series that we call the Mystery Schools, which we've done, I believe, 19 hours of broadcasting covering that subject. I told you that we had infiltrated the lodge, the Mystery Schools, Mystery Babylon. In fact, we have not only infiltrated it once, but many times in this country and in lodges around the world. So the information that we're giving you in the Mystery Schools is not conjecture. It does not come from a bunch of people sitting around making up information. It comes from the books printed by the Mystery Schools themselves. It comes from our members who are actually in the lodge, and we check, double-check everything that they bring to us. Please welcome to the hour of the time, William Morgan.
Thank you, Bill. You can call me Will, and I really appreciate that gracious and honorable introduction.
Well, we're certainly appreciative of everything that you've done. Tell us, Will, how long have you been associated with the Mystery Schools?
For over 2 years now. I became a Mason in June of 1991.
And what happened? I mean, how did you ever even know about Freemasonry?
At first, before I was exposed to your information, I was under the impression, as most people are, that they were a philanthropic organization dealing mostly with charity or possibly even in some way associated with unions. And as most CAGI members have come to know, that is entirely not the case.
Did you have friends who were Freemasons?
Yes, I worked with somebody who was a Freemason, and I've come to find out that that is usually the most common way that a person is exposed to the craft as they call it.
So they call it the craft amongst themselves. This is not something that the public is normally aware. What does the craft mean? What does that term mean?
Well, they consider themselves craftsmen because they're building something, and there have been many organizations throughout history with the incredible similarities to the present modern cult of Freemasonry that have called themselves builders, common themes. They've associated with themselves always with the erection of a structure or the building of something that people just do not understand. We've come to understand that what they are erecting is the New World Order, and they've been working on it for thousands and thousands of years.
That's correct. Now, did your friend or friends try to proselytize you or talk you into joining the lodge?
No, not at all. I must admit I did go to them, and I was not entirely aware of the nature of the organization or of what was in store for me when I became a member, or a brother, as they call it.
Now, if you had not joined CAGI, would you still be sort of in the dark about the true meaning of Freemasonry, or do the members really learn the truth about the organization during their period of time there?
Had I not joined CAGI, I would be as empty-headed and as trusting as sheeple as most of the Freemasons in America and across the world are today. They are not taught what the craft is about. They do not question authority at all. They, as a rule, and from my personal experience and observation, they obey the rules without question and to the letter.
Now, a lot of people out there are going to wonder, and I know that Freemasons are going to bring this up, that if you didn't learn what you now believe that you know about the Mystery Schools in the lodge, how do you know that what you've learned while you become a CAGI member, how do you know that that is true?
Well, because I can verify for myself. I can get up and check the facts and look again to verify what is going on about the Mystery Schools. But for what the Masons claim to be, they have absolutely no proof or evidence or even works of their own hand to prove that they are actually involved in charity work.
Now, when you began to study, you were studying actually from two sources. You were studying the mystery religion in the lodge, actually, and you were studying what you were learning from the Citizens Agency, from Joint Intelligence, and trying to rectify the two, or bring the two together and make it fit. When did you finally decide that what you were learning in the lodge was really a deception?
The absolute clincher for me, what absolutely decided for me beyond a shadow of a doubt, and yes, I had my suspicions since I had very first become a member. You don't take a blood oath kneeling before an altar, swearing yourself to secrecy for all time without without the group you're becoming a member of being suspect.
But you did take these blood oaths.
Yes, sir. I took all of them, and there were many.
And so by the time you reached the degree level that you are at now, you've taken approximately how many oaths?
I don't even recollect. I know that there were over 24 oaths before you can even become a master mason in a Blue Lodge of Freemasonry, which is a bit like primary school for Freemasons. The Blue Lodge is where they are brought in as new members from off the street, and most men who are involved in Masonry for their lifetimes consider the Blue Lodge to be the heart and soul of Masonry, because that is where it all begins and that is where it all grows from.
But isn't it true that many Masons never advance beyond the third degree and remain in the who has infiltrated the lodge? Now, this man is no dummy. You have to understand, within 2 years, he has risen from entered apprentice to 32nd degree Freemason of the Scottish Rite of the Southern Jurisdiction. Now, that's quite a distinction within the lodge, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it can be considered as such. It does get a measure of respect from those who never advance past the third degree of Master Mason.
And what is the next step?
After the 32nd degree, there is publicly known only one more degree of Freemasonry, and that is the 33rd degree.
And you said publicly known. Does that mean that there's more?
I suspect that there really is more.
Do you know that for sure?
No, I do not know it for sure. I've heard there's a man by the name of Reverend Jim Shaw who was he actually still is by Masonic law, who still is a 33rd degree Freemason. And when he became a 33rd degree, he knew another Mason who was going through the same ritual, who said that he was going to advance even further because he had professed a support for the Luciferian doctrine that they preach.
So what you have just said, this is coming from your mouth, a 32nd degree Freemason of the Scottish Rite. You have just said, I didn't prompt you, I didn't ask you the question. In fact, you just surprised me because I was going to lead up to this, but you just said the Luciferian doctrine. Can you explain that?
I can explain that absolutely. Masons believe in light. It is a priority part of their entire ritual. Now, light to a Mason symbolizes knowledge and also intellect. And if you paid attention to the Mystery School broadcast, you know who the patron god of intellect is. It is Lucifer, and in fact his very name means the farrier or the bearer of light. Luce is Latin for light and fair for farrier. This is the true god of Freemasonry, and this is also, to my great shame, the god that I knelt at the altar before and swore my blood oath to.
But when you did this, were you aware that you were swearing your blood oaths to Lucifer and not to the God of the Christian Bible?
Absolutely not. Everything about Masonry says and publicly says that their God is the same God as any God, the God of Hindus, the God of Arab, the God of Christians. But it's just not so. It's a lie and it's a scam, and all you have to do is study paganism, nature worship, and the mystery religions of Babylon to see who that real God is.
So you have done this study on your own, and you've checked out the publications and the doctrines and the symbology within your own lodge, and you've arrived at the conclusion that the God of Freemasonry is who?
The God of Freemasonry is Lucifer, who is actually Satan, cast from heaven for one specific reason, and that is because he, like many other Masons, sought to attain godhood in his own time.
And isn't that really the goal of Freemasonry, is by their works they will become God?
Exactly. It is a matter of work. Salvation has nothing to do with it. There is no